call to order the City Caucus meeting for Monday, January 13th, 2025. We have one public hearing this evening. If the clerk could read.
Public hearing number 1, amending certain sections of the Schenectady City Code, Chapter 248, regarding setting a citywide speed limit at 25 miles per hour.
We have 8 items for original consideration. If the clerk would please read item number 1.
Item number 1 for original consideration, a resolution calling for a public hearing to add Section 264-113 of Article 3 to the Schenectady City Zoning Code to regulate the location of cannabis establishment and uses.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2 for original consideration, a resolution calling for a public hearing to amend Section 183-1 of Chapter 183 of the Schenectady City Code to increase the point value for violations of Chapter 182, the noise ordinance.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3 for original consideration, a resolution calling for a public hearing to amend certain sections of Chapter 28 of the Schenectady City Code regarding the rules and procedures of the Schenectady City Council.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 4.
Item number 4 for original consideration, a resolution transmitting to the Schenectady County Planning Department proposed changes to the Schenectady zoning ordinance entitled An Ordinance to add Section 264-113 of Article 3 to the Schenectady City Code to regulate the location of cannabis establishments and uses.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the settlement of tax certiorari action by the property owners located at 1201 Knott Street, Suite 105.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the settlement of tax certiorari action by the property owners located at 2001 Broadway.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a lawsuit instituted by Umwati Tintaman against the City of Schenectady.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8, under contract and supply, a resolution awarding the bid and contract for the rental of portable toilets and showers.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. If there's nothing more to come before the City Caucus, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Mutaverin. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order for Monday, January 13th, 2025. And I'd like to call on Pastor Andrew McNaught of the Christ Family Fellowship Church for the prayer.
Shall we pray? Father, tonight we come before you in the name of Jesus. Father, we bring every member of this council before you, the mayor and each one of them. I pray, God, that every decision that is been made here will be, oh Father, for the advancement of this city. I pray for your protection upon each and every one of them life. And I pray for your favor to overtake them. In Jesus' name I pray tonight. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to call on Rich Unger to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If the clerk could please complete the roll call.
Ms. Sotoro? Present. Mr. Farley?
Present.
Mr. Mancini?
Present.
Mr. Mutaverin?
Present.
Ms. Patrick? Here. Mr. Williams?
Present.
Ms. Porterfield?
Here. We have one public hearing tonight. Thank you. And I just want to remind everyone that the time to speak for public hearing is 4 minutes, but we respectfully ask that you keep your comments related to the subject of the public hearing. Public hearing number 1 is regarding amending a certain section of the Schenectady City Code, Chapter 248, regarding setting a citywide speed limit at 25 miles per hour. I have 7 people signed up to speak. And first, Lori Bachelador.
Good evening, City Council members, President Porterfield, and Mayor McCarthy. Hi, my name is Lori Bachelador. I live at 815 DeCamp Avenue. I'm in the Upper Union Street neighborhood. I'm also president of Schenectady United Neighborhoods, often called SUN. As president of SUN, I'm here representing the 5 active neighborhoods of SUN. They are Upper Union Street neighborhood, the Banna neighborhood, which is the boulevards, Goose Hill, East Front Street, and the Stockade Association. For the past 2 years, a priority of SUN has been to encourage and promote the change to drop the speed limit from 30 to 25. We are in agreement with this. I personally am in agreement with this recommendation as I am an active member of the Upper Union Street neighborhood as well. We hope you will proceed with this change as it helps meet one of our recommendations for improved safe streets and pedestrian safety, and it will benefit the entire city. In addition, I want to thank the mayor and his staff for reviewing our safe street and pedestrian safety recommendations that include reducing speeding. And one of the issues that kept coming up was changing some of the streets in these 5 neighborhoods. And we worked closely with the mayor and his office to do that. And it had always included speeding. And part of this component, there is one neighborhood's corner that remains untouched that we would really like to see changed because it affects safety, pedestrian safety, and speeding. And that's the corner of Wright and Eastern Parkway. It is the corner that is the front, it goes Union, Eastern Parkway, right into Central Park's main entrance. We've asked for 2 years that this be a 4-way stop sign. It is a 2-way stop sign. It is where speeding begins. They come out of the Market 32, and they take a right heading towards Niskayuna, and they speed right up to the first 4-way stop, which is halfway down the block. So we are seeing making that a 4-way stop. We really want to see it because there's group homes on that intersection, and the youth are crossing that. It's also a bus stop for the youth on that corner. And any of us, and I'm one of those walkers all over that neighborhood, and I've seen a lot of you walking with me. So please consider that Eastern Right Way and Right. I ask that you also please recognize that speeding is a safety and pedestrian issue, not just a car issue. And that is important to SUN. It's important to our 5 neighborhood associations. And I really hope that both of those components can be a priority of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Suzanne Unger.
Good evening, Madam President, Mayor, council members. My name is Suzanne Unger. I live at 216 and a half Union Street. I'm here as a member of the Stockade Association and a board member of the Schenectady Heritage Foundation. And I'm here to speak in support of the proposal to reduce the default speed limit for Schenectady to 25 miles per hour. As you are all well aware, the Stockade Association in particular has asked the city for years to lower the speed limit in the Stockade, where the streets are narrow and there are many pedestrians. You all know too that this is not just a Stockade issue. Speeding is a problem in every neighborhood and area of the city. In the Stockade, we continue to see an increase in visitors year-round. A lower speed limit will make this area attraction safer and more desirable. Lower speed limits will improve walkability and further connect city neighborhoods. The response to our concerns has always been, we need to do a study. I congratulate you on the completion of a recent traffic study. I was thrilled to see your consultant's presentation to the council several weeks ago. I was even happier to hear his recommendation to lower the speed limit throughout the city with only a few exceptions. Needless to say, this is a recommendation the Stockade Association and the Heritage Foundation wholeheartedly support. Cities like Seattle, New York, Boston, Minneapolis, Portland, even Albany have lowered their speed limits in recent years. The data is clear. Lowering speed limits reduces deaths and injuries, especially to pedestrians. The impact on drivers, on the other hand, is minimal. Arrival times increase by a few minutes. As you weigh your decision on whether to lower the speed limit or not, consider which is more important, helping the speeder arrive a few minutes earlier or saving someone from a life that may be tragically impaired or worse, ended forever. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm breaking microphone.
That's fine.
Rich Unger.
Good evening, Madam President, Mayor, and members of the City Council. My name is Richard Unger. I reside at 216 1/2 Union Street in the Stockade neighborhood of Schenectady. The goal of reducing motorist travel speeds is to increase reaction time for drivers to avoid crashes and reduce the severity of pedestrian and bicyclist injuries when those crashes do occur. Higher vehicular speeds lead to greater pedestrian and bicyclist injury severity, but the higher speeds also affect a pedestrian's perception of whether it is even safe to walk in our city. Many other cities have reduced their default speed limits and have experienced significant benefits. There's 3. In 2014, New York City reduced its default speed limit to 25 miles an hour based upon overwhelming evidence that a pedestrian's risk of dying is twice as high when struck at 30 miles an hour as it is for being struck at 25 miles an hour. Boston reduced its speed limit to 25 miles per hour in 2017. Overall fatalities in Boston dropped from 21 in 2016 to 10 in 2018. Pedestrian and cyclist fatalities decreased from 15 to 7. And the pedestrian injury crashes dropped from 893 in 2016 to 680 in 2018. In Seattle, prior to 2016, Seattle experienced around 20 fatalities and 150 serious injury vehicular crashes annually. Vehicular, pedestrian, and vehicular cyclist crashes made up 5% of those crashes, but nearly 50% of the fatalities. 9 out of 10 crashes with bicyclists and pedestrians resulted in injuries. In 2016, Seattle set speed limits on their neighborhood streets at 20 miles an hour and reduced speed limits on 200 miles of arterial streets from 30 to 25 miles an hour. Fatalities decreased by 26% between 2017 and 2018. Lowering the Schenectady citywide default speed limit to 25 miles an hour is a relatively inexpensive means to quickly improve the severity of injuries resulting from motorist, pedestrian, and bicyclist accidents. It will also improve Schenectady's real and perceived pedestrian and bicycle safety. We commend the city for initiating the speed limit study. The results of the study illustrate the benefits of reducing the default speed limit to 25 miles an hour. Therefore, we please ask that you adopt the proposed ordinance amending sections 248-11 and 248-16 of the city code to set citywide default speed limit at 25 miles an hour. Thank you very much. But before I close, I have 3 questions, just very quickly, that don't necessarily have to be answered here. But is the study available to the public, online or hard copy? And which streets, do we know which streets will be designated to stay at or remain at 30 miles an hour or higher? And the third question I had is noted in the ordinance. The effective date is I believe is March 1st. That was my third question. So thank you very much again.
Thank you. Mary Jo Zarzkowski.
Good evening. My name is Mary Jo Zarzkowski. I live on Washington Avenue. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to speak. I am a resident of the Stockade and am a concerned pedestrian. I live, walk, work, and enjoy my ability to live in my neighborhood without a vehicle. It has always been difficult to cross at major and minor crosswalks, especially on Erie Boulevard, to reach State Street businesses, Union College, and the J Street pedestrian area. What I have observed is that drivers have little regard for following traffic signals, pedestrians in the crosswalk, and anything that interferes with their ability to get to wherever they are going. It can be downright dangerous to pedestrian, even when one is following traffic rules. I have been cursed at, flipped off, and subjected to derision and unbelief that I am trying to get across the street by those who are driving. I support the city in passing this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tracy Collins.
Good evening. 25 miles an hour, why? You don't enforce a speed limit now, unless you live in the right neighborhoods. You don't enforce many of the laws already in place now. Weight limits, speeding, it's out of control. Someone in the city of Schenectady took down the 8-ton weight limit signs down. Was that to accommodate businesses? Commercial vehicles, delivery trucks, garbage trucks, city and private, hydrovac trucks, etc., are driving over the speed limit and obviously overweight because they are rattling and shaking houses, destroying the roads. The blacktop around manhole covers, sewer grates are sinking, sidewalks are buckling. Enforce the laws currently in place. You ask the state and federal governments for grant money on the roads, but without enforcing the speed limit and weight limit, you are creating part of the problem. Ironic. Security cameras and videos don't lie. During conversation with council members regarding 25-mile-an-hour enforcement and speeding, some of the replies I get, Kings Road is a county road. I thought there were stop signs already up on Kings Road. I'm not sure how to read the data. I can't really discuss issues without asking the council president. I misspoke. Without enforcement, it's not going to work throughout the city. And I will be now watching on Central Parkway and Wright Avenue if new stop signs go up. 'Cause we've been asking for 2 years for my property to be taken care of. And I will be watching throughout the city now. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Carey.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Council President Porterfield, council members. I'm Tom Carey, President of the Upper Union Neighborhood Association, and I'm here to speak in favor of lowering the city speed limit to 25 miles an hour. I'm glad to see so many other people turning out to speak on it as well. As Lori said, Upper Union's a member of Schenectady United Neighborhoods, and as you know, most of you know, our neighborhoods have called for this action since 2021. I think it was 2021 when we did this. I'm glad to see it's finally happening, and I'm also a board member of Cycle Schenectady and another organization that strongly supports this. A lower speed limit's necessary to make our city safe and desirable as a place where residents and visitors can move around the city without relying on cars. We've long promoted Schenectady as a walkable city. This change will support that and improve our quality of life. Schenectady is one of the most densely populated cities in upstate New York. And a high proportion of our residents don't drive, don't rely on cars. There's a lot of young people, elderly people that just choose not to use cars. Controlling cars and making our city an attractive place to walk or bike is good for public health, good for the climate, and good for business. But it's not enough. We need design changes to slow traffic and to make more of our streets safe to walk along. There's plenty of places where crosswalks need to be added and other traffic calming measures. Traffic calming should be done when doing routine maintenance, or should at least be considered on a lot of streets. Too often, street paving just lets cars move faster, like it did on Eastern Parkway when that was paved. It's great, but, you know. We need new bike and pedestrian infrastructure. You have a good start on that in some areas. You've done a lot of nice work downtown here, but more is needed. It can be bump outs, speed humps, warning signs. Planners have a lot of ways to control traffic in cities, and unfortunately, we're a little bit behind in this regard. We need public awareness. We need some sort of informational campaign to let people know what the speed limit is and that it will be enforced. We need to encourage people to walk. We need to encourage kids to walk to school. We need to make sure our laws are enforced. I agree with the last speaker that there's sort of a default that you don't get a, you know, I don't know if it's true or not, because I now drive the speed limit in the city. I'm careful to, but you don't get a ticket. If the speed limit's 30, you don't get a ticket unless you're going 40. I don't know if that's true, but you had a city engineer up here saying that when they were talking about or not the city engineer, the traffic consultant, when they were talking about the Kings Road things. That's certainly the perception, that you can drive, if it's 30, you can go way over the speed limit. That should change. We need to make sure the laws are enforced, and not just the speeding laws, but also sidewalk maintenance, parking on sidewalks, snow clearance. These are all problems in our neighborhood, and I know throughout the city. Too many property owners and businesses are allowed to get away with violations. So I want to just, I want to thank, in particular, Councilmember Patrick for her leadership on this issue. I know you've all been very supportive of it. And I also just will throw in that I support the noise ordinance changes you're about to discuss and appreciate Councilmember Williams' leadership on that too. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare the public hearing number 1 closed. This time I ask for approval of minutes from the December 23rd, 2024 meeting. Moved by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Farley. All those in favor? Aye. If the clerk could please read any communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Monday, January 13th, 2025. Under official, there were none. Under general, from Kathy Fitzmaurice, an email in support of lowering the city speed limit to 25 miles per hour. Under petitions, there were none.
Thank you. I'd like to call on council members to provide any committee reports. This time we'll have privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. However, I have no one signed up to speak, so I declare public comment on the legislative agenda closed. I'd like to ask for approval of the legislative consent agenda. Moved by Mr. Mutivaran, second by Ms. Patrick. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. At this time, we'll now have privilege of the floor regarding the general city business, and I do have 2 people signed up to speak. The first person is Tracy Collins.
Here to speak about quality of life issues on Kings Road. My property and home has been damaged 8 times and my mailbox taken down twice. In March of 2023, a car struck one of my 1,000-pound landscaping stones I put on my lawn to protect my property. Car parts went flying through my fence, crashing into my gas meter. I was told, and this will never go out of my head, that we could have a fire or an explosion. In December of 2023, the city of Schenectady installed a guardrail. It failed. In March of 2024, a car went around the guardrail, taking down the fence again and creating thousands of dollars in damage. I have come to this committee and council meeting for 1 year, 10 months now, expressing my concerns and dangers on Kings Road. But yet a councilman has a quality of life issue regarding noise, music and noise. Within weeks, there's a special meeting, and it's already on the agenda for a resolution for a public hearing on January 27th, 2025. How many times has your property been destroyed by noise, council member? How many times has your family had to run out of the house during the middle of the night due to noise, council member? How many times has your family been displaced while repairs are being done to your property due to noise? Does the city council know what priorities are? I have filed a complaint and asked for an investigation with the New York State Attorney General's office to find out why years of concerns about the dangers and conditions and lack of speeding and distracted driving enforcement and keeping taxpayers safe are such a low priority to the city on Kings Road. The next time my property and home are damaged or my family is forced out of our home because of dangerous driving, I will sue the city of Schenectady. I am also suing the mayor, the city council, and any employee of the city of Schenectady that have discussed concerns and dangers on Kings Road individually and personally. Good evening.
Thank you. Chris Morris?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Morris. I'm the director of SLIC, Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change. And I've come to you tonight, a lone warrior. You see, I have nobody with me except a friend. Representing SLIC, an embattled group of small landlords, realtors, and property managers. It's well known that our business is increasingly challenged by legislation both from the state and local governments, limiting our ability to control our rental properties while increasing tenant enlightenment and pushback to landlords' needs and regulations. Now, the latest issue is the new garbage proposal that involves purchasing stickers for bulk items to be picked up. That's one particular part of the plan that we've been learning about. We feel this process to be cumbersome and time-consuming for everyone involved, and we require additional policing of tenants in attempts to assure compliance, which would be a frustrating challenge at best. Just last Thursday, January 9th, a dozen SLIC members attended Mount Pleasant Neighborhood Association's meeting upon an invitation from its leader, Pat Smith, where Commissioner Paul LaFond, along with Office of General Services Chris Lund, presented this new garbage plan. Also attending were Council President Marion Porterfield, along with Councilwoman Doreen DeTuro. The ladies can attest to witnessing, much heated in my words, lively and spirited in your words, feedback from our disgruntled majority rejecting the plan altogether, and instead suggesting a simplified, three-level, reasonable tax applied across the board based on 1, 2, or 3 family units. And of course, when this would be set up, if it's in that way, we know it has to meet this budget that you have to meet. So we're aware of that, but we'd like something very basic and simple to accommodate that agenda. And according to Ms. Porterfield, the sticker plan is not set in stone. And we should share with the council our rebuttal email that was recently sent to the mayor. And I did that, so you all have that email, so you know what was said to him. Because I've always believed myself in the old saying, you can't fight City Hall. I'm not a rah-rah person. I'm not a marching bullhorn person. I'm forever looking for ways to collaborate and create solutions to accommodate both sides and implore you all to do the same. We need your help to survive, for us to survive, and to continue servicing the community. We invite you all to attend our next SLIC meeting, which is Wednesday, February 5th. And the details are on the sheet because you have it right there. And I want to thank you for the few minutes, even though I stand here by myself. I want you to be aware of what the struggles are, and you are hearing from us all the time, so bear with us. And thank you. Good night.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare the public comment of city business closed. This time, we'll have any miscellaneous business of the council. Ms. Patrick. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to speak, and thank you for supporting the reduction in the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. We've said from the start that we see this as a safety issue, and so I agree with almost all the speakers who highlighted that aspect of it. And I appreciate the support that we've been getting. I wanted to sort of use that to segue into something else that I wanted to talk about, which is for folks, especially right now when it's so dark, so early, when folks are out walking or biking in the evening, I hope that folks might start to think about carrying a flashlight, or perhaps wearing some sort of reflective clothing or something on your clothing for your own safety. And then the converse of that is that I hope that folks that are driving these days are really paying attention to the fact that it's very difficult to see folks that are walking. And along with that, I hope that folks are understanding that you really need to shovel your sidewalks. There's a lot of folks that are walking in the streets, and I can observe very easily that they're probably walking in the streets because there's still a lot of snow on the sidewalks. And I remind folks that they need to take care of that at their own households. I think that we will be talking about other traffic calming measures along with the reduction of the speed limit. We've begun those conversations. We'll continue those conversations as well because it is such a critical issue in our city. I also wanted to, last week was Chief Don Marino's retirement and his walkout from the Schenectady Fire Department, and I wanted to, again, reiterate our thanks to Chief Marino for his very long and distinguished career serving our city. And then finally, last week, Councilmember DeToro and myself, along with Glenville Town Board member Mike Aragoza, are co-chairs of an initiative called Schenectady Shares, which is a food drive, a county-wide food drive that we do after the holidays to try to restock all of our over 20 food pantries throughout the county. So there are actually almost 70 sites now in Schenectady County that are collecting food. We're also looking to try to raise $30,000. We're trying to collect 30,000 pounds of food, and we're trying to raise $30,000. All of that money goes directly to the regional food bank accounts of food pantries. So I appreciate everybody's support. I value the co-chair here next to me, know that we're all working hard to try to pull that off. It started on January 7th, it will end on February 15th. We also know that it's a year-round problem, but we're doing our best to try to at least make a dent right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor? Oh, Mr. Williams? Well, you got to put your hand up. I can't see him through you.
Thank you. I wanted to take a moment to just key on some of the comments that were made here tonight. First and foremost, I just wanted to thank everyone that took their liberty to come out and speak. Definitely for myself, I always take notes and take everyone's comments into consideration. With respect to the comments that were made about whether lowering the speed limit in and of itself is enough, the answer is no, it is not. I think what the community should recognize is that this is one of many steps that need to be taken. First of which, recognizing that our legislation needs to, in fact, support some of these best practices. A lot of the comments we heard tonight with reference to like a walkable Schenectady, also making sure we're prioritizing the safety and concerns for pedestrians as well as to drivers throughout our city. And that is also important, but it requires the buy-in from our motor vehicles, but then also enforcement from our local police department. So it is truly a multi-layered approach that needs to have everyone understanding the importance of why slowing down is important and taking the additional time to be more aware of your surroundings. As we live in a day and age where there are so many distractions, not just in our cars, but also outside of our vehicles, it's important to make sure that we are cautioning ourselves when we leave to make sure we have our head on a swivel. That's me getting back to my military. Head on a swivel, being aware of your situational awareness. So I'm excited to see this moving forward. And again, this is not the end all be all, but it is truly a first step. Next, I would like to say I myself I have my MBA and I manage a healthcare organization within the city of Schenectady. There are many of functions throughout the city that I am not aware of and truly require the recommendations and feedback from a lot of our city staff, but also the mayor, my fellow council members. And I say that to say, every action we take needs to be guided and supported by evidence-based practices. And as we continue to hear a lot of feedback from individuals questioning why things are and aren't happening, sometimes to their dismay, there are limitations to what we can do. I encourage everyone to continue to vocalize your feedback when responding to issues that you believe are being not considered fully. But truly, if you have any issues or concerns, I know whenever I take a response, I always cite the individuals. So with respect to traffic concerns throughout the city, we heavily rely on the office of our city engineer, and we require feedback assessments or reports, unfortunately, so that we have the evidence to make the best possible decision. And sometimes that takes time, but it requires us to make sure that our actions are best guided by the right information. And I caution anyone requesting anything other than that. And also that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Toro?
Yes, thank you. I'd also like to thank everyone who came out this evening. We had a newcomer here who's speaking on behalf of the speed limit. So, and I do want to say that, especially down in the Stockade area, I have been noticing the cutouts, narrowing the lanes on Union and Erie. And as far as when you mentioned planters, as far as traffic calming, I noticed how beautiful the planters were on Lower Union Street in the Stockade this year. And even the way that the bulbs and the branches came over, like into the road, it kind of narrowed your pathway. And I did comment to, I believe, Gloria one day. I saw her, how nice they were. So again, thank you, everyone. And again, we're here always to hear whatever your concerns are. I'd just like to take a moment, I'm sure the mayor or perhaps President Porterfield would just ask us to all remember our neighbors suffering out in California with the wildfires, as well as we still have a lot of neighbors down in Florida and North Carolina from the last hurricane that came through this weekend on the sports channels. There were all kinds of places you could donate to, especially the Red Cross. So again, our hearts and our souls go out to all those individuals who lost their life, they lost everything. And again, so my thoughts and prayers to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Farley?
Thank you, Madam President. So I guess I want to echo some of what was said today by some of my fellow council members here. The decisions that we make as City Council, we work to be a responsive government, a walkable city, a rideable city. If you think now with, as we're starting to see the primary mode of travel start to change and shift. Now we have like a lot of e-bikes and things like that, scooters, electric scooters and things. It's really incumbent upon us to be mindful and make whatever decisions that we can make to ensure the safety of the citizens here in the city of Schenectady. Those decisions, kind of to amplify what Mr. Williams was saying, those decisions are not made unilaterally. They are made in coalition and collaboration with our city staff here who do have some level of expertise, and we want to honor that, and at the same time, again, we don't let our innovation be stifled by some of the processes at hand. So there's always some tensions that we're trying to balance here. So I am happy to see that our 25 speed limit is now is moving forward. It's been something that we've been talking about some time, multiple steps, multiple different conversations, and I'm glad that we're finally here, and I'm proud of the work that's been done around that. Oh, I also would like to, they're like, no, I also would like to condolences out to the family of Robert Brooks. Robert Brooks is a man who was murdered while in the custody of Marcy. His family, friends, and loved ones are in mourning now, and I just think that as leaders in the community, it compels us to speak up and speak out when we see things like that. And we recognize the humanity of all of our neighbors, no matter the circumstances that they're in. It's a very, very sad thing. Myself, I couldn't even get through the entire video watching it. And I just think that it speaks to a culture of a certain facility when you can have that many people around, which I assume all, definitely weren't participating and wouldn't commit some of those heinous acts that we witnessed. But when they're not and they can't find the courage to speak up or act in that moment, that suggests a cultural issue. That's a accepted way of conducting yourself in said facility. And I hope that the powers that be take whatever necessary steps to change that, or even better, close said facility. A very sad thing. Also sending love and prayers out to our neighbors in California, and everyone kind of really trying to, not only for what they lost, but now the hard work of rebuilding is starting. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. Appreciate everyone coming out, their thoughts on the change in the speed limit, which I believe is going to have clearly a positive impact on the community. It's had results in other cities, and Schenectady is just following in that pattern. And felt Mr. Toro, Mr. Farley's comments on our evolving tragedy in Los Angeles. Really tragic there. The only thing I would ask people to consider is, if you are thinking of making a donation or helping out in some way, use one of the larger, more traditional entities, United Way, Red Cross, because there are unfortunately a large number of cyber scams and people who are trying to take advantage of that situation. That only makes it worse for the people that really need the help. And that hopefully people will mark on your calendar the 25th of this month, which will be the soup stroll in downtown Schenectady. All the restaurants and venues are working hard, coming up with extremely creative soup formulas, recipes, and there's a good-natured competition that exists there, and want people to be able to come down, enjoy everything, and again, take advantage of the good things that are happening within our city. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. I also would like to thank everyone for coming out to speak tonight about what's going on, and I appreciate people coming to support the legislation that we're working on in terms of the speed limit. Yes, it has been a while, but I appreciate your working with us and continually coming to advocate for that. So thank you all for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank council members for the things that you brought forward, Schenectady shares, and certainly what is going on in California. That's very tragic and difficult for those involved and even for those who are watching. Just want to also to give condolences to the family of President Jimmy Carter, our 39th president, and a really good humanitarian who did a lot of work even after he left the presidency. I'd also like to give condolences to the family of Barry Kramer, who is a major basketball player from Schenectady and then came back to be a judge here in our community. So condolences to them, and also to the family of Robert Brooks, as Mr. Farley has said. That was also a very, very tragic situation that happened there. I just want to announce for people, because people have asked, the garbage schedules are available. They are in hard copy, so you can pick them up. I was at the Green Market on Sunday, and you would not believe how people were excited to get a copy of the garbage schedule. It's like, wow, I was really popular that day. Maybe not next month so much. And this coming Monday we will not be having a committee meeting because it's a federal holiday, Martin Luther King Day. However, there are many things that are going on there on that day, so let me just mention a couple. There's the Beloved Community Pie Social, second annual on the 20th, and that will be at Schenectady Community Hall which is 1343 Albany Street, from 3 to 5:30. All of us is having a day of action. There's all-day events beginning at 8:30 a.m., and you can find the whole list of events that are being done on their Facebook page. The Human Rights Commission is having a concert on Sunday, the 19th, at the Rotterdam Center from 3 to 6 p.m. So there's quite a few events going on, and so you can avail yourself to those on that day. I'd also like to announce that Rise High, which is a STEM group that I think they meet at Mahonison, I believe it is, and they have openings for students from starting at the 6th grade. So if you're interested in that and wanting to get students involved, we were there, the mayor and I, late last year. It's really a great program and for students, and they get students from all over and from a Schenectady school district as well. So they have openings, they provide transportation, they provide food for the students. I don't think there's anything left out. So if you want more information about that, certainly, I didn't bring the flyer tonight, but I can provide that to you. And last of all, we've heard about the tire slashing in the community. Someone mentioned that tonight, about that, God bless you, God bless you, about that going on. So as you've read in the paper and heard, that the police department is working on that and asking people just to keep an eye out and report anything that they've seen, because it's causing people a lot of money in order, for what has happened when you damage someone's property like that. So if there's nothing else, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Mancini. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. Have a good night. These are for you, right? I guess those 3? Okay.
I don't like how they out there.